Okay, I'm back and I'm already on track. 1.5 hour and 1 hour before, so 2.5 hours today already. And I need to show you the results of it because it's quite good. So abilities. Previously I just set up the longsword, so that was the longsword. All abilities and all montages. And I thought to myself that there's need to be a better way to do this looping thing, and I found out, like if you learn all the time, right, that if you have like a loop that will go just here, for example, and I don't want this animation to reset, I want it to reset only if it triggers in this space, not if it just lasts in this space, then all I have to do is say looping reset for iteration. So if I don't want it to reset, then I just turn it off. And I use that to create a new template of abilities. So in core, now we got A, B, start attack, and it's just 2 branches like we had, but I actually even deleted this one after all. And this animation, which is now montage with the loop. Let me show you in an example. So if we go into let's go into sword and shield, right? So for sword and shield I got only 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 abilities. Heavy, start, light, heavy. Okay, so I got 3 directions, so 3 abilities for each. So this is in the longsword, so I will show you all types of all weapons. You know what, we're going to set it up in a second. I'm going to show you the final result. That will be the best. So you've seen the longsword one, and this is the polearm. So polearm is working exactly the same. I have a blend space, I'm moving with it. I can start in any direction. I can hold to charge an attack, and I am in heavy. Bow. I can go the opposite. Bow. I can go back. And I can go forward and stab. Okay. And it all works exactly the same as it did, except now I have exactly 1 second interval in between attacks, and I control it. It doesn't matter how long are the animations, what's the animation time. I have full control over when you are looping, when an attack is heavy and when it's light, even though the execution attack is just 1. So if you go here into polearm, we got only 8 abilities, so start execution for each, which is half the number of abilities than longsword, and we got only 8 montages. So you probably see how much setup this took, and this took obviously half the time. So every start looks like this. You just have 1 branch that says on input negate of enhanced input trigger. So on release of trigger, you just go into right execute or forward execute, all of those execute abilities. You have play animation, and it is a montage. And this montage, if I go here, it's this one. And the way it's set up, it's like I set up loop before, so there's a default and a loop, then it goes into loop, and it just continues the loop forever. So once triggered here, if this animation doesn't stop on interrupt, and doesn't reset animation state on end of the ability, that means that will continue forever, even when the ability ends. And now I have set up loop, and the loop starts at 1 second, ends on 1.2. So this is looping. So if I want to, for example, say that this is a heavy attack, I would just do it like this, add a tag, and I will just put it in the loop. So just put it at 1. and it would trigger only when I get to this point. It will continue to be here in the loop, and then I would just remove it in the execution. But I don't need that for now. This is enough. I just have this ordinary attack, gameplay tag, single animation montage, and single branch. On graph, nothing. I didn't have to override any functions or abilities, nothing. It's just that all animation blueprints are set up in the same way as Greatsword, and they're just here from this conduit, set up in exactly the same way as all of them. Only change I did, I made blend type to linear instead of qubit, and that's it. So that's the changes to abilities. I've tested all weapons. We have all weapons here. We have sword and shield, and this is one we need to take a look at. So sword and shield has an extra mesh, which is the shield. By default, it's just attached to the sword. So when you see it here, it's sword and shield like this. I could like drive the sword through the handle of the shield or something and make it pretty, but I didn't bother with it. So I've done some extra functions, and nothing is custom functions. It's just override functions from events. So even dispatchers from components works like this, that you don't have a call to parent like you see here, because call to parent is always being called. You cannot override the function of the parent that uses dispatcher. It will always bind to this dispatcher, but you can bind to this dispatcher multiple times. So the parent weapon can do something on equip, and the child weapon can do something extra on equip. In this example, the shield is being attached to shield socket. So when I pick up this combined item, the shield is actually being snapped to my character mesh. When I drop the item, I simulate physics on the shield. And when I pick up this item, I then disable simulate physics, and I once again attach shield to weapon. So when it's stored in inventory, it's stored in this form. But when I equip it, the shield gets equipped to my hand. So this way I never have the shield on the ground and the sword hidden in the inventory. What else there is? I think I had something more. Okay, that's everything what I had changed off screen. As I just came to conclusion that you can do looping animations better in a way that you have heavy light attacks, and now all weapons done in this new method, they have exactly the same attack time. So it takes 1 second to execute a fast attack, and the fast attack has exactly 1 second. So the fastest attack you can do is 1 per second. But you still need to have stamina, obviously, which is still a thing. We don't see it, but it is a thing, and we'll make some UI soon. And we have this stop animation, we have jumping and jump loop. Okay. So what we want now is how we execute. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. I need this. I don't need this. So how do we execute abilities right now? On trigger, we go through direction, and then we do a switch, and then we execute a very specific ability, which is terrible. We have to do it differently. We have to actually go to weapons, and we need to go to weapon template, and we need to get the interface that we have here, and we can search it like this, and we have it opened. So now we need another function, set get ability by direction, or even get primary ability. Just get primary ability, that will be enough. We have an input, which is an E cardinal direction that we created. And we have an output, which is ability class. And this is able ability class reference. Okay, we got this. So it gets implemented in here automatically. So now we go into interface, equipment, get primary attribute, and we can we do select on enum? Oh, we can, that's great. And we just need to do this in every ability. Okay, so this will return blank, but inside every ability we need to, or should we make it an array or something? No, let's define it directly in the items. So we go here, we go into gameplay, weapon blueprints, and just open all of them. So spear interface, get primary ability. So for the spear, we have only one. So I can do it like this. This is the only ability for spear. For polearm, interface, get primary, okay. And this will be start pole. And this will be forward. And if we want to swap, for example, the stab to be backward instead of forward, and the uppercut from the up, the down slash, we can always just switch the order of those. Pole start. This is left. Pole start right. Start right. And connect. Okay. And this is dagger. And we got only two, so this will be like this. Okay, so we got one for forward, backward, one from left, right. Sword and shield. I need to check something. Spear. Okay, yeah, I connected that. So sword and shield. SNS start, and we have up. So we got forward, backward the same, only one ability. And we have left and right separately. It's just how Cobalt animations were done. Not every weapon has the same number of animations. They don't have the same type of animations, and they don't have same naming conventions. And you know what? In general, they're very inconsistent. Okay. And the last one is Greatsword. And then when we make a specific greatsword with a different weapon mesh, we can just create a child of this one and just swap mesh. And we won't have to do this setup ever again, because what we just did is basically templates for weapons. So long, I think, long start forward, long start down, long start left, and long start right. So all of them are differently programmed, but they all work in very similar fashion, and they cost the same number of stamina, and in general they have the same feeling of gameplay. So we got this. So now instead of doing this, we're getting direction, and then we'll get weapon, get current weapon, which is our function internal. And from this weapon, we want to get primary ability message, and the direction, we are pushing this direction. Like this. And here we do activate attack ability. This is a very specific function, attack ability, because it's pushing as an instigator the current weapon. So once we update, you know what? We can even do it better than that. We can add instigator, make it actor object reference. We can ignore this, connect instigator here, and call it try activate ability. Okay. And now we have this instigator, we can just connect weapon. Yeah, so we can do it like this. And now this is more universal. Okay, so we're getting the weapon. From the weapon, we're getting primary ability, and we're trying to activate ability. My first default weapon is the polearm, so it should work exactly the same as I presented before. Okay, left, right, forward, and backward. Okay, it works. Nothing changed, so now let's do weapon switching. So this is primary trigger. Whatever we will set up as a weapon, it can be a spell, it can be a weapon, it can be bow, it can be whatever. We will do this, right? We'll just go through this. So for example, for a bow, we will just ignore direction and we'll just always return one ability, which is just starting to shoot the bow. But we can use this sequence for absolutely everything, including spells.